现代人的生活时时刻刻都在移动。想知道一天驾驶或步行多少路程，手机或智慧手表可以帮你计算。但你知道自己驾驶或步行时如何估量道路安全吗？如果你不知道，别担心，新竹县政府道安 Podcast 安心竹道一次讲给你听。不管移动时靠2轮、4轮或是一双脚，道路安全的规范都应该知晓。安心竹道邀请道安专家和人气 KOL 公民不下课与法律白话文运动 Podcast 轻松听，道路安全快乐学习，搞清楚微型电动2轮车与电动机车的差异，明白停让行人和行人路权的重要性，白话解析交通规则，家中长者道安不 NG。赶快点击连结收听安心竹道。以上广告由新竹县政府提供。
Hello, guys.
Hello, guys. Welcome to Taipei Banter, where John and Gavin uncover the interesting trends and issues around the world. Coming up, hey, Gav.
Yes.
All right. So you're feeling a little Pink Panther-ish. Right, Gav. So what are you having in store for us? I heard you've got a very interesting TED Talk to share.
Yep. Thanks, John. It is a TED Talk. So for those of you who don't know, TED, T-E-D.
What is TED?
TED is basically the website. TED is a TED, and it's basically a website that shares a lot of interesting talks about almost any topic under the sun.
For those who don't really know what TED stands for, why it's in capitals, it's because it's an acronym for Technology, Education, and Design.
Oh, aren't you a fountain of knowledge?
If you just say TED, it'll be the movie TED, and, with a little bear that's very vulgar, and that's somewhat funny.
Somewhat funny, okay. So...
Right. So we're talking about the formal TED. So, capital T, capital E, capital D.
www.ted.com. There you go, that one, yes. And basically, it was a recent talk from November, and it was about basically work. And the title was, Are You a Giver or a Taker?
I'm a taker. I want to take the money. I want to take the money.
And it was done by Adam Grant, who is a organizational psychologist.
Ooh. And HR guy.
A psychologist, but a HR psychologist.
HR psychologist. Human resources psychologist.
And basically it was a very interesting chat because he spoke about the 3 kinds of personalities we have in life, but at work specifically.
Oh.
And it's basically givers, takers, or matchers. So matchers was a new word for me. And we all know give and take. He's the sort of person who always takes. But a matcher is basically a person who in their head, they match. So you do a favor for me, I do a favor for you.
Oh, they ask for equality.
Yeah, sometimes we give more than we give, and sometimes we take more than we get.
That's a compromise.
But we still, in our heads, we know it's fair. So basically, a giver is somebody who gives more than their fair share. That is a giver. A taker is a person who doesn't give. They take more than their fair share.
Yes.
And they do it on purpose. The other one is the matcher, which is the majority of people. Now, why this chat was so interesting was because he came to a number of interesting conclusions. One, if you have more givers, interestingly enough, their performance is worse than anybody else's because they're always giving. So they are not taking care of their own interests. So their performance in the company is worse.
Wow. So that means people working in a charity organization who gives a lot, who devotes a lot,
they will
underperform.
Underperform. But for the company's performance is better.
Oh.
The company does better because of the givers.
The contribution, right?
Yes. And because of them, they create a better culture.
Oh, that's very interesting.
So the other interesting bit is this. If you have 5 matchers and 1 giver or 2 givers, the 2 givers will influence the matchers to give more. They are a positive influence.
So you need, okay, let's do that again. You got 5 matchers.
Yeah.
And if you put 2 givers among this 5 matchers, you positively influence the group.
The group, yes. So
holy man.
Givers are very important to companies. They are not that common, not everybody, but they have a very positive
So bring in
influence.
2 mothers into the corporation and mother everybody.
There you go. There you go. The interesting thing for me was the taker. Okay. They are like bad apples. This is just
at the start of this episode, I did say I was the taker, right?
No, you're not. You're a giver, John. I've known you long enough. I'm a matcher. I know that, but you are a giver.
Okay.
The bad apples are takers. They are like we have a saying in English, like a rotten apple in a barrel. You put a rotten apple in a barrel, it makes the whole apple barrel rotten.
Okay.
And takers do that.
They're the negative.
They are bad. There's no. They don't get influenced in any positive way by givers. They just bad. So
did he mention that? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
Did he mention, Adam mentioned that? What about the influence of takers? Putting the takers amongst the matchers.
What happens is matchers get pissed off. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but they do.
Beep. We were going to censor that.
Okay. And basically, they spend a lot of time trying to hammer the taker. Once they know it's a taker, they go out of their way to pay back.
I see.
And it creates a bad influence. So he came to two conclusions, which I found very interesting. One, get rid of takers.
Get rid of takers.
Not just be nice to them. There's no way to change them. Fire them. Get rid of them. Okay. Get rid of them.
The negative influencers. Get them out of the organization.
Which is really weird. Most people would never say that about, workers. If he's a taker, get rid of them and hire and cherish your givers. Try and create an environment where they flourish because they will positively influence your company on the whole. So it's so interesting to have somebody say, get rid of somebody. I had a very interesting student once do a presentation on employees. He was a manager and he said two very interesting points that I never thought of. He said, one, if you have a good employee and you lose them, be good to them.
Be good to the good employees you lost.
The good employees who you lost. He said, because they might bring you more business.
Oh.
When they leave, they go to another company. That company might
word of mouth.
He says they will bring you because they dealt with auditors. So those auditors will become accountants. If I am from the company, I can bring business. I can say, my company. Yeah. So he was always said, be good to the good staff. And then he said this, get rid of the bad ones. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. And I thought, wow, how brave. I've never heard anybody say that.
That's very gutsy.
It is. Most of the time we go into a company, they look after everyone. They don't try and say, oh, he's bad, let's get rid of him.
Yes, very much the Asian culture where you sort of take care of everybody, take care of the community, take care of your own.
Yeah. So this is a very interesting idea that fire the takers. And he said usually he found, and this was quite odd, to find a taker in an interview is very difficult. He says he found one difference. Of course, it's not an absolute truth, but this is what he found. He says, if you interview a potential employee and you ask him, tell me about somebody that you influenced or helped in your
This
career.
is in the workplace, right?
Yeah. He said, givers always talk about somebody below them, somebody who's not important to them that they helped and they takers usually will give examples of people above them, the bosses, the people that they helped. Oh yeah, my boss had a big project and I helped him for 3 hours. And so he found that's one key. So it's very difficult to find them in the interview process.
Yes.
Once they are in the company, of course, you can find
through
them.
Their performance.
In time, they let their facade slip and you realize this guy is a taker. Conclusion, basically. So you basically get three kinds of workers in workplace. You have givers, takers, matchers. Givers are great for your company. Get rid of the takers. There are no real... the word out of this piece would be matcher, which is a new word to me. I've never heard of it. And it's a new idea that I had to think about it. And for me, I'm a matcher. John, what do you see yourself as?
I actually see myself more of a matcher than giver, but thanks for the compliment. I'll take that. Because, my star sign is Aquarius. So, it's in my nature to want the balance, the water, the balance, in the bottle. So I find myself adaptable in all organizations. However, I need to find the balance.
Yeah.
So when I actually see all these, scaly things or sneaky business deals, it really drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
And that's why, I've actually maintained a freelancer for such a long time. Yeah. I don't work well with, bosses with dirty business dealing.
Oh, okay. With ulterior motives. Okay. So basically it's a great talk. It's on TED, www.ted.com. And you can basically go and have a look-see. If you are not an English speaker, you can find subtitles on TED on the website. I know there's an app that has a subtitle app, so you can find
fantastic
subtitles.
Site. So how long is the talk actually, buddy?
Oh, it's 13 minutes and 28 seconds.
Very nice. That actually fits the profile of 15 minutes today.
Yeah.
Giving yourself that 15 minutes to learn something today.
Okay, so word of the day is not out of there. It's a new word that I learned this week.
And please do share.
And it's called Jouska, Jouska.
Could you say that again? Joska. That doesn't even
Joska.
sound English.
It doesn't sound English at all. It's a psychological sort of term. I don't know where it comes from, John. Don't ask me these things. I just learned the word.
We need to hire an historian next time, like to tell us that it came from like BC, like 200
I think
BC.
it comes out of a different language, definitely. And it basically means a hypothetical conversation that you compulsively play out in your head.
Like a daydream, like a conversation in your head.
Well,
You
yes.
talking to yourself, you talking to somebody else.
Yes.
Imaginative conversation.
That's it. I mean, it's basically you're going to go for an interview and you decide to play it up in your head. What am I going to say? I could have, or maybe something that happened the day before or a year ago that you try and relive in your head and you go through. I should have said that. I could have said that.
Man,
I do that all the time. How about you?
I actually do that, on quite often in a day.
Yeah.
Literally, because, I would sip my coffee and can we say go into Joska?
No, I don't know. Just Joska. Is it a verb? I don't know.
Joska-ing.
Yeah, I'm Joska-ing while I'm driving. Yeah, that's what I do. I Joska away as I drive.
This is a very difficult word. How do you Joska-ing?
I don't know, John. All I know is I like the word.
No, this is actually very interesting. So if you guys actually, check this up and figure out a way, please do let us know how to use this word Joska, or, you feel free to Joska in the day.
Joska about our conversation today.
Yes.
Okay, John, thanks a lot. I hope we learned something today and have a great day.
Thanks very much. So do you know how to Joska? Well, write to us or comment in our blog at www.15minutes.today.